What is up, guys? My name is Stone, and welcome to my reviews, aka these reviews. Today, I'm very excited to talk about one of the trippiest and funkiest albums I've heard in the last year. Free Your Mind, and Your Ass Will Follow. Yeah. This was released in 1970 and it would see the band continuing to find their sound by tripping on acid and recording an album all in one session. This album, to be particular, which I think was George Clinton's motivation for the band, and just wanted to see how far he could push the band's limits. And I think that acid sound or the drug use can be clearly felt through the album's immersive musicianship and otherworldly lyrics at times. As much as I love Maggot Brain and their self-titled debut for their kaleidoscopic atmospheres, I personally find Free Your Mind to be the best Funkadelic album. I just personally find it that way, just because it just combines all their best qualities into one album that's just a little over 30 minutes, and so it does not overstay its welcome whatsoever, but it's such a tight album from beginning to end that it's definitely an album you gotta listen to in its entirety, much like Sgt. Pepper, where it can be tough to pick out a few tracks because I feel like they all connect to each other so well. And even 50 years after it was released, it still manages to blow people's socks off, or at least the people I show to it. I really enjoy how they don't hold anything back on this record and continue in the vein of creating very freaky and eerie sounding acid rock, which, if I've read correctly, was partly inspired by the Mothers of Invention, which I feel like that connection is clearly seen if you compare. This came out in 1970, I think Weasels came out around this time, or if not, stuff like We're Only In It For The Money and Absolutely Free were already around. And I do see that connection definitely, especially with the first song on the album, probably the most notable song on the album, the title track, Free Your Mind and Your Ass Will Follow. I just think this is such an incredible song, and honestly just as essential as Maggot Brain and Wars of Armageddon. Taking up a third of the record being 10 minutes, this song takes the listener on a kaleidoscopic, consciousness expanding journey by drenching them in a very sprawling yet wildly exciting jam that contains a theme of religious freedom through its running mantra, as you can clearly hear in the background. I really like how they use this idea, they compare this idea of drugs freeing one's mind and offering salvation to the belief that religion could do the same, all while being very abstract about it, yet bringing it all back up in the album's last track, which I think makes the album feel like one entire piece, which really works. I find the first minute of it to set up the rest of the song very well with its freaky and otherworldly nature that really just raises question marks and eyebrows like, what the fuck am I listening to? Sorry, what the funk am I listening to? Before laying down a sweet groove for the band to sing over, just kind of go nuts. I absolutely love how they blend the vocals in the way that sound very swirling, yet it's clear enough to hear in the mix. So, in a way that, like, with the vocals going off, especially if you have a good pair of headphones, if you listen to this song, it does sound like these voices going back and forth, almost sound like voices in your own head, as if you're trying to free your own mind, which I really enjoy how they produce it in that manner to make it so, psychedelic and basically just fucking trippy. It's tough to pick out certain moments from the song that I really enjoy, because there's just like moments, like ticks almost, where I just hear it and I'm like, kind of like Wars of Armageddon, where he's like, doo boop a doo, like just a random moment that, like, when I've listened to the song enough to like hear and prepare for it, and like two moments that I really like from this is where he's like, what time is this? What time is this? Or towards the end, I think he just said it, he's like, the kingdom of heaven is within. The kingdom of heaven is within. Just that little part I really admire in Funkadelic's music, because, like, since they're just going so out of control, or at least it feels very loose, there's a lot of moments to enjoy from it that, like, you just hear, you're like, oh shit, like, that's the part I really liked. And for me, there's many moments like that, but those are just the ones I really enjoy, as well as, like, Will I discover that this life is given to me? Just, you know, I don't want to sing the whole song for you because we'd be here forever and you know how it goes. But I also have to mention how much I enjoy Eddie Hazel's screeching and feedback driven guitar work. I mean, not only on this song, but the entire album is incredible and it really raises the psychedelic quality of this album because I think a guitar, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys this, a guitar is very essential to that sound for any psych rock band. I'm not saying it can make or break it, but it could definitely uplift that sound. So overall, I do find this song to be one of the best things Funkadelic ever recorded, and perfectly fitting when you consider the fact that this comes from a band that's called Funkadelic, both funk and psychedelic. This is followed up very nicely with the side one closer, Friday Night, August 14th. This and the next track have much more structure, but still display just how funking hard they can go in the studio, all while still being very trippy. I just love how much energy they put into the song and how powerful the vocals are, making it a lot of fun to sing along to, as well as how it becomes much more ethereal towards the latter half and when the vocals fade away and we are just kind of left to some incredible guitar work once again and some nice drum fills, which I wish I recalled the drummer's name at the moment, but like his drumming on Maggot Brain is absolutely insane, and on this track especially. And I do find it to be with that latter half of the song kind of going out, phasing out, to be a pleasant way to close side one. A part of me wishes there was a little more material on side one, but that doesn't affect just how strong the material is on there and how mind-blowing it can be, which fortunately does not lose any steam whatsoever when you flip the record over. We open side two with one of my favorite songs in the album, Funky Dollar Bill. This song, yet again, just goes so is just so funking catchy that I can't help but want to yell the lyrics out whenever it's playing. It was just smart for them to make this track the single, or I think either it was the A-side or B-side, but I personally think it's one of the most successful songs on the record with, thanks to that melodic groove that the chorus has, yet it still maintains that sense of experimentation that gives it that edge. I also find the lyrics to be very captivating with how they talk about people becoming too obsessive over money, losing their family and friends just to obtain that sweet dollar bill, which I mean, I think for a bunch of guys tripping on acid, it seemed like they had a lot to say, and they said it pretty well on this album. We then move into the track, I Want to Know If It's Good For You, which is just another astounding song that harkens back to the atmosphere the title track had. It features a groove that I hate to keep saying, but I want to say it just goes so funking hard with a melody that I can't help but sing along to, or at least bob my head to. I mean, both though. The guitar and keyboard work towards the latter half of the song is just incredible. It's really, like I said, harkens back to the title track with how they work off one another to create such a hazy and hallucinogenic atmosphere that really eases your mind back into that psychedelic bliss once again, that depending on whatever you're using to listen to the song will definitely improve the experience. We then move into another favorite of mine that I find to be just as catchy and memorable as Funky Dollar Bill, Some More. This has much more of a blues feel to it, and a swing that is just too catchy to dismiss as a filler track. The vocals and organ playing on here are what really stand out, but at the same time, I don't think they'd be as good as they were if it wasn't for that really simple yet sleazy guitar riff that just continues throughout the track and makes it so much more enticing and entertaining. As much as I love the track, it doesn't stick around for too long, and it eventually fades into the closer, which I guess is a rather controversial track upon certain fans, Eulogy and Light. This sends the listener off into like another galaxy almost, with its use of backward masking as Eugene Harris, I assume, does some spoken word poetry, borrowing some verses or rewriting some of the verses from Psalms 23 and the Lord's Prayer in a way that really connects the religious faith people have to the corruption of life and the unsettling truth of the world that we live in. Some of the lyrics that really spoke to me when the first times I listened to it was just the fact, like saying like selling dope to small children and feeling powerful, or was it like, sorry, um, feeling restored by having a Cadillac and a pinky ring. And just what else? There's another part saying like the big God, big buck. And I think especially that moment really harkens back to the title track and Funky Dollar Bill, which I really think works in his favor in making the whole album a cohesive piece to listen to. Though I do point some of these lyrics out, I'm not too certain what they're trying to say in the song. As towards the end, it seems like Eugene is taken by the light with how the vocals go up and whatnot, and before just fucking like completely ending. Now it seems like a lot of people find this song to be disappointing or maybe too indulgent for its own good, but I couldn't disagree with that anymore. I think the song is so good. It ends the album on a spectacular note. Like I said, seeing how it connects the themes of Funky Dollar Bill and the title track so well, that I think it's rather profound with what it says. For, like I said, a bunch of guys tripping on acid at the time, but not to dismiss it just because of that, because, you know, we all could think of some wild things on wild stuff, but, you know, just before doing this review right now, I actually found a YouTube link, maybe I'll put it in the description, of Eulogy in Light reverse, how it was originally written, and it's actually not too bad, but I definitely prefer this version with how freaky it is and just how out there it is. Like, it's definitely a track. Sometimes I play too casually in front of people because it's definitely a song I will listen to by itself because I find it that good and that entertaining. And honestly, since I'm in college right now, there's a lot, like, some college professors really like to show this track to see if they're into it. And I like a lot of, like, literature professors, you know. I mean, if you're in college, you probably get it if you know the song and if you think they'd like it. But yeah, honestly, like it really wraps up the album as a whole so spectacularly that it really is tough to choose favorite moments from this album or like favorite songs because everything works together so well and it flows so easily that I don't know. Like I said, it's just their best, just for that fact, in my opinion. Though, like a lot of people do say it's too short. Yeah, but I think keeping it short and simple, I won't say simple, but you know, structured the way it is, works in its favor. Now, my favorite side, it's really tough. Usually it's kind of easy when I do these reviews to pick a favorite, but I think side one, just because the title track and then Friday Night, August the 14th, the way they just go into each other, perfect pair of songs together. But that's not to say that this album isn't consistent at all, because it, like I said, does not lose any steam. Now, instead of just choosing my favorite songs, I'm going to actually rank them from my favorite to my least favorite. But at the same time, my least favorite is still a banger. So, yeah, my favorite song, Free Your Mind, Your Ass Will Follow, easily. Then Funky Dollar Bill. And then some more. Then Friday Night, the 14th. Then I Want to Know If It's Good For You. And then, I didn't want to put Eulogy in Light in the bottom because I really like it, but the rest of the songs just go, like I said, so funking hard. What was it, the fifth time I said it? I'm losing track, but if that's the bottom song, I'll take it because I still love it, and I love everything else this album has. Whoops. Again, there's not much to show off, but I always like to try to show the vinyl off. Try to keep the sleeve on because, you know, it's originally like that, which is whatever to me, but I really like the album art. I love how, yeah, you see the mind and then you see the ass. Pretty cool. Love the photo of the band, looking very funky and very ready to trip out. And then, yeah, there's not really much more to it than that. It's just some repressing I got some time ago, but I'm glad to find it because it took me so long to find Maggot Brain for some weird reason, yet it seems like there's always copies of this around, so, yeah. Well, thanks for sticking around. If you enjoyed that review, you should totally rank the songs and put them in the comments and get some get some discussion going about this album, because there's not enough discussion on YouTube about this record. It's honestly one of the trippiest psych records out there. I mean, it came out a little later in the psych movement, but like I'd say it has that quality, much like the first Soft Machine album, or like Can Future Days, even like Anthem of the Sun. It's got that real swirling effect to it that is probably my favorite kind of psychedelia. So yeah, put your favorite songs in the comments, put your thoughts in the comments, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Yeah. Take care. Bye bye.